for being with us today. Now we'll hear from Maureen Bell.
My name is Maureen Bell. I'm 51 years of age and I live in Chalfont, Pennsylvania. I have lived with galactosemia for my entire life. Shortly after my birth in 1972, I began to show the classic hallmark signs of failure to thrive: jaundice, repeated vomiting, and weight loss. 7 days later, I was diagnosed by an intern as having classic galactosemia. I remained in the hospital for 3 weeks. My mom and dad were given a 32-page booklet entitled A Parent's Guide to a Galactose-Restricted Diet. They were instructed to follow this booklet as I would need to be on a lactose-free, dairy-free diet for the rest of my life. That was the only treatment for galactosemia in 1972. I doubt my parents knew that many more challenges would lie ahead following the years to come than just having me follow a dairy-free diet. It seemed that everything was working fine for me at the time, but I was getting older and it made me feel very left out when I could not eat the same foods as my peers. Without modern day advances we have today in nutrition, I cannot tell you how isolating it was for me. There were many social events that I could not attend. My mom tried so hard, always sending me to parties with a special treat, not just for me, but enough for everyone, so I was able to share. Not being able to eat the same cake that everyone else was eating at the birthday party was very difficult as a child. I also could not process information the same way. I always was a low average student, and math was my most difficult subject, and still is today. I struggle with making change, leaving tips at a restaurant, and figuring out percentage. I cannot process it. Basic life circumstances became a struggle, and only when I met other people living with galactosemia did I realize that comprehension issues were similar for all of us. Just as I was slow academically, I was also slow in developing physically. While my friends were going through puberty, I was not having any issues of this. No normal signs of puberty, or nothing like late development, and I still looked like I was in grade school physically as opposed to being in high school. This continued, and the sense of isolation also continued. I began to have unusual symptoms such as hot flashes, night sweats, and mood swings. After about a year of experiencing these symptoms and having blood work, I was diagnosed at the age of 18 as having premature ovarian insufficiency, which is a direct result of having galactosemia in female patients. This is something that I continue to struggle with today. As a result of this diagnosis, I became very reclusive. I wanted no part in dating or socializing like any other 18-year-old would. That was the impact of POI, premature ovarian insufficiency. Secondary to having galactosemia, this was very difficult in my 20s. I just wanted to be like any other woman at my age, socializing and having fun. However, I was depressed and had a very difficult time making friends and meeting new people. There were nights that I cried myself to sleep. At a church event in 1999, I met a man named Bill who showed interest in me and started spending time with him. I was very apprehensive about getting involved in a relationship, even though I was 26 years old. The fear of falling for someone only to have to tell him that I was infertile and taking a chance on losing this relationship weighed on me very heavy. However, I finally got the nerve up to tell him. Bill is a pharmacist, and his response was priceless, not caring about my diagnosis, and instead advising me to take my calcium because I was such a slacker at taking my calcium. What a huge weight what that was lifted off my shoulders. And we recently celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary. I was told that having galactosemia is like looking through a window at everyone at a party and they're eating all kinds of foods that I cannot have. I could see them through the window and through the glass, but could not break it or join them. The same is true for infertility. I can see moms, I can see children and families, but I cannot break the glass. This experience, I cannot break the glass, but cannot experience what it is truly like to be a mom. All my life, I've longed to be on the other side of that window. There could finally be a treatment for people like me. And even though it's too late for me, for younger ones living the way I grew up, I spoke at the patient-focused drug development meeting, but our community never heard from FDA after that. They had no questions, no clarification, and that made us worry they had not taken the time to learn from our work before reviewing a drug. Will they understand that speech issues don't matter to us the same way as cognition and development delays do? Some of us even have more scary symptoms than the ones that I have mentioned, like seizures, kidney issues, tremors, cataracts, neurological impairments, and intellectual impairments. Will they understand that if they ask for another trial, rare diseases often don't have enough patients for another trial? Will they understand that if the drug is approved for something else rare, our doctors have seen the improvements in our community and will want to prescribe it for us too? The drug is already being studied in other rare diseases. Whether it is government insurance or through my job, insurance companies don't treat rare diseases like cancer. So that is a whole other hurdle. These days, we must fight for approval, but also fight insurance too. The Galactosemia Foundation is working hard on both things, and I hope you can help us all. I'm learning about what places like FDA and CMS and Congress can mean to me and the others whose lives are impacted by diseases like galactosemia. I don't pretend to understand, but I know even one person can make a difference. And I want to help the little girls with galactosemia going through isolation, the puberty, depression, and fear, the inability to understand and process. If all of you can take my story and help them, it will mean so much. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Bell, thank you for your testimony and for sharing your personal experiences with galactosemia, and we're grateful you're able to spend this time, and I hope you can listen to the whole hearing. We'll now turn to our next witness, Dr. Pluz Ogun.